Okay, everyone, please be seated. The archaeology class is about to begin. Okay, thank you. Well, hello everyone, and we are going old school based on many requests. We are going back to the past, and we're going to do it this way, and this is probably the best way to do it. I am using the pen. So let's do it this way. Now, the purpose of this pyramid is to talk about world pyramids, to show that they are all the same religion and to show they are all basically laid out in a similar way. There is always a type of pyramid, and there is always a type of valley temple. Now, in this video, we're going to look at two Chinese pyramids, only recently built, 600 years ago. But because China, according to people like Robert Temple, is an ancient civilization in the modern age, we're able to look at the names of all the different buildings, even in the Chinese temples, if we wanted to, in order to check how much more ancient temples worldwide work. Now, what am I talking about? Well, it's rather obvious. You look at this picture here. This is, of course, the Tower of Babel. And according to legend, that these people tried to build a tower to heaven. And these were the biggest towers in ancient times. Obviously, they are pyramids. These are pyramids. That's what they are. And the people got scattered. And that's the Bible way of explaining why pyramids, I think, are worldwide. So we are going to look at this particular temple. Now, there's an epic temple complex in Beijing called the 13 Tombs of the Ming Dynasty. There are different tombs. We're going to look at this particular one here. It's called the Shaolin Mausoleum. And you will notice, first of all, it is composed of rather different buildings. So there are entrance buildings. There is a red wall. Note the red wall. Over here is a central building on a stepped structure. Over here is called the Building of the Soul, or the Tomb of the Soul. And it's really weird. Over here, what you have is a circle. It's not quite a circle, but there's a wall around a mound. Now, what that is World Mountain, and we can just look at the structure of this in order to tell us so much about worldwide pyramids. You would not believe it. And we're also going to look at this building here. That previous one was in Beijing. This is called the Temple of Heaven, and it's also Beijing. And you're going to tell me, Charles, this is only 600 years old. What can this possibly tell me about Stonehenge, about the Giza pyramids, about any of this stuff? It's not the same contemporary time. And an archaeologist would agree with you, but I say no. Look, this is based on primordial principles. This is, for example, based on this is based on worldwide principles of heaven and earth. And you're going to say, Charles, hang on, you can't do this. You can't compare something which is only 600 years old with something which is thousands of years old. And I'm saying, well, hang on a second. This contains the closest analog you will find to Stonehenge, the closest analog to the Giza pyramids, the closest. And this can actually explain to you what's going on, because this is called the altar of heaven. And this is not Taoism. This is not Buddhism. This is older than all those. This is heaven worship. This is the oldest religion of mankind. And over here is the Temple of Heaven. And basically, there are different altars here. One is the altar of good sacrifices. And what happened was these people used to go up a mountain in order to make a sacrifice, and then an emperor decided, no, I want to do it in Beijing, let's do it here. So they built these circular mounds, and a circular mound is World Mountain. You see this over and over again. You see them in tombs, but you also see them in these altars, which are designed to sacrifice to heaven. Okay, let's get to it. So my eyes popped out of my head when I read that lintel architecture, that's the architecture you see in Stonehenge, was only allowed to be built in basically royal sacred buildings in China. So this is one of the closest buildings in the world to Stonehenge, and it's built for the same kind of purpose. It's an altar of heaven. That's what it is. It's an altar of heaven. And so therefore, in one video I suggested, well, was Stonehenge once domed? And people have suggested this throughout history. And here you have it again. This is obviously it was called Peking, the Temple of Heaven. It's circular, it's stepped, it's white like a pyramid. And this is it again. Just amazing. Now, here we have a little red wall. Some people say it was not completed, it was only at the base, and over here there was a different type of rock, a different color rock. This was traditionally called the Coloured Pyramid. This is, of course, the Menkaure Pyramid. Note the red wall. Red is death in ancient China. Is this a tomb? Is it a tomb? Here we have a red wall at the base, just the same as at the Menkaure pyramid. Bear in mind, I said China was partly responsible for a lot of what we see in ancient Egypt. And, of course, that is incredible. Now, again, now this is the, now we are looking back at the Shaolin Mausoleum. Again, the Shaolin Mausoleum with the red down here. A foo dog, or is he a sphinx? And Anubis. And it's just like ancient Egypt, this amazing Shaolin Mausoleum. It's like, because it's like those temples in South Egypt around Karnak where you're flanked with sphinxes, but here instead there are elephants. It's so weird. And not only elephants, but camels. I mean, what's going on with that? And so again, that's the temple complex. Now this can explain so much to us. Oh, look at that. There's an old picture of Stonehenge with a low red wall around it. I mean, what the heck? What the heck? What the heck is going on? That's what I want to know. What is going on? Obviously, this artist never went there. Why did he draw a mountain? Why did he draw a castle? There is actually a castle, an old fortress in the distance, but it doesn't look like this. This is weird. Now, what I wanted to show you is, do you know, this is actually laid out basically close to north-south. So you have a world mountain, which is that, which was held to be at the center of the world. And then you have a series of temples. That's the central pyramid. Possibly, that's just a temple of the soul. That's the entrance there. Now, so what's going on? You look at Avebury. Now, this can help explain Avebury. Now, Avebury, as we know, is actually close to Silbury Hill. And Silbury Hill is directly south of Avebury. So if we actually step back to this photo, we see that we have a hill, and then we have temples. Okay, so here we have a temple and a hill aligned north-south. It's also aligned east-west, which is interesting, like the Giza pyramids, but there's a north-south alignment. So this is all the same pyramid. So this is Silbury Hill, based on the Chinese model down there, is the world mountain attached to this temple. And that's what Chinese architecture tells us. I mean, isn't that incredible? Did the Chinese go to ancient Britain? Tunwald Hill, have you heard of this? Tunwald Hill is basically in the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is located between Ireland, Scotland, and England. It's in that little Irish Sea, and we see the same thing. So we have a world mountain, Tunwald Hill, and then we have a processional way. It's aligned basically like that, and you have here a church. So whatever building was here a church has been placed on top. Now I bet you that's not the burial place. The church, something under the church was the burial place, and it's called Royal Chapel. I reckon that's where royals would have been buried, in a temple here in ancient times. How do I know this? Because people are not buried in hills. That's the thing. People are not buried in pyramids. They're always empty. They're called tombs, but they're not, because the tomb complex, and this is what people aren't getting. No one knows this. No one. Is much bigger than the pyramid. It's huge. So if we look back to the Chinese model, the emperor would have been buried in this central building there. Not on the world mountain or the pyramid. That's different. But that too has steps like a pyramid. So it is confusing. Look, it is confusing. Again, the Tower of Heaven in Beijing is so similar to this. It's like you have three pyramids here. It's so weird. Again, Tunwald Hill, Isle of Man. Same people, same religion. This was called a thing in the Dark Ages. This is where Vikings held their parliament. So Vikings were seated around here, giving judgments, passing sentences. And over here, I'm sure, would have been the royal burial ground. So pyramid, burial ground. So in the 70s, there was a telecast on BBC. There was this great excavation of this huge mound in England known as Silbury Hill. And they dug straight down, and they thought, oh, we'll find the tomb. Allegedly, there was a man there covered with gold buried in there, and they thought, well, we'll find all this treasure. We'll find it. Don't worry about that. And guess what they found? They found zero. They found nothing at all. They found nothing. And the reason is, well, why would they find anything? Look, They were digging the world mountain. They should have dug off a bit and found the temple. That's where they would find the man buried in a golden mask. So I notice here we have a look at this hedgerow leading to the... could that have been a processional way in ancient times? Then again, it could have been anywhere. This has all been ploughed up. It's so hard to see. Maybe geophysics is going to reveal it. Look, there are striations here, lines. Possibly it went in this direction, but again, it's hard to tell. I mean, you can see a little bit from satellite, but you really do need geophysics equipment. So there we go, Silbury Hill. So it's not just the hill. There was a temple attached to it, a temple complex, just like at Pyramids. Stonehenge, we always look at Stonehenge, it's the same thing. Do you see this circular thing? It's actually a raised, I believe the Stonehenge is a raised world mountain, because when you're there, you notice you have a great view of the surrounding countryside. And the reason for that is, you're actually on a hill. It's a hill. No one says this, but it's a hill. See for yourself. And we have this thing called the avenue, but it goes down a bit, then it turns, and it goes to a river. It's ridiculous. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. There must have been a temple there on the other side, which is possibly the burial ground of the kings. So all you have to do is go down a bit, do a bit of geophysics, excavate. You'll uncover some kings buried there. Unless it's all been destroyed. You have this avenue coming out of Stonehenge, going nowhere. Look, they didn't even bother to put it on this map. But obviously whatever is there is highly important. Oh, look at this. These are called the Thornborough rings in northern England. And do you notice the similarity? The triple circular mound, the processional way. And you'll say, Charlie, these are not mounds. Well, have a look over there. There are trees growing here. Presumably, this was left alone. This was not ploughed over because it's a mound. So this is the world mountain up here, and these would be the former temples or the burial locations. Because remember, people are not buried in pyramids. Again, the Thornborough rings. Now we move to Egypt. Now we can use the information we've gleaned from that to start to understand Egypt. So this is the Zozer 3rd dynasty pyramid. But guess what? It's not just a pyramid on its own. Firstly, there's links to ancient China. Do you see this here? This is called faience. But this is not the faience that we understand as faience. Our modern faience is a kind of, it's a tin. It's tin and lead baked into a sort of porcelain. And we use that in modern architecture or tiling. Egyptian faience is not baked to the same high temperatures. It's basically a copper pigment, and the surface is vitrified like glass. So you have this nice shiny surface. Now, I ask you what the hell was going on. I bet you they are trying to emulate Chinese vase, Chinese jade. And because recall my video a couple of videos ago where I looked at the links between China and Egypt. And so you have one shoot of the ancient Chinese going off to found civilizations in Central America, the Olmecs, which then became the Teotihuacan civilization and the Maya civilization and the Andes civilization. And on the other hand, an offshoot went to Egypt. And so you have this jade associated with burial in all three locations. According to legend, there was a jade suit of armor placed around the dead king, and that's exactly what you see here. They found these jade suits of armor, and you have these little plates just like you have here. And this is the Zozer pyramid complex. It's just absolutely incredible. There's a labyrinthine-like structure underneath, and if you look at this is incredible. So they excavated this pyramid, and they didn't find a thing. They didn't find any. They found all this pottery, thousands of vases. They did not find the tomb of well, they found the tomb, but the sarcophagus. There was nothing there. There was no king there. So they thought, okay, well, let's excavate the South Tomb. There's another tomb there called the South Tomb. Maybe he's in there. So they excavated that. And the thing is, the sarcophagus was too small. They thought, this sarcophagus is really small. What's going on? And so they went down there. They went in there, these rooms here, and they had a look. And there was nothing in there. It was empty as well. So why would he have multiple so-called burial places? That's like a mastaba down there inside. But why would there be multiple burial places and there's no one buried? It's so weird. But it's sort of, this is north-south aligned. So it's sort of like the Chinese temple. So you have the pyramid in the middle, which may have been a burial place. Yes, this pyramid may have been a burial place. And it's stepped as well, like the Chinese structures. And you would have successive temples on each side, so you have this sort of triple temple going on. Again, a jade, basically a jade suit of armor of a Chinese emperor. And you have the same thing again in the Olmec lands. This is La Venta. You have the so-called Great Pyramid on one side, the World Mound, and then you have a series of temples. It's just the same thing. That's the pyramid, the artificial volcano. That's it again. Zozer. And you have the same thing again at the Teotihuacan civilization. So this was about 200 AD, several centuries after the Olmecs. And you have this processional way. It doesn't quite go north-south, but it's close. And you have all these pyramids. And the funny thing is it's a triple pyramid, just like it is so close to Giza, because you have these two roughly equivalent sized pyramids, the sun and the moon, which are of course similar size in the sky, but then you have this temple of Quetzalcoatl, which is smaller than these two. It approximates the Menkaure pyramid, and it's the most decorated, the most beautiful. It's more beautiful than these two, because it's just so well decorated. So it's actually like the Menkaure pyramid in Egypt, the little one, because that's well decorated with coloured stones. Pyramid of the Sun. And of course the Olmecs, remember the jade? Remember the Egyptian faience? It's so similar in these mass offerings which were buried. And again, this could be a European gargoyle. It could be a Chinese dragon. And you have the same thing in Ireland. People used to wonder, why did they put seemingly more effort into the towers than they did the churches? And that's a very good example, because this one at Swords, it's a big chapel. But the thing is, people didn't know why all this effort to ring a bell, to have a bell up there. Why the effort? Why all this? It's because you have a dual temple structure. So you have a church, you have a tower. It's the same thing, a pyramid, a temple. The Khufu pyramids of the 4th dynasty, these causeways run east-west to the associated temples. So the World Mountain and the associated temple, rather than north-south like you see elsewhere. So it's a different type of cult. The Pyramid of Khufu, I think it's more than just, it's more than just a world mountain. There's something else going on. It is older. That it is one of the original pyramids. There's something weird going on with that. Now, why are the causeways here not running east-west? Well, I did look up online, and someone suggests, someone's noted that, so that's the sun rises and sets on the equinox, east-west. So that measures the sun 30 days before and 30 days after the equinoxes. So there would have been perhaps a 2-month festival, I reckon, each year, between 3 moons, between 2 moons, and they would have tracked the sun every day. So therefore, this is all one complex. Now, I also have to say, the causeway running approximately to the Sphinx or past the Sphinx would suggest that the Sphinx location is no older than the pyramid. Because why would it run in a similar, in the required direction of the causeway? Or did they invent all this to take advantage of the Sphinx's position? I don't know. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much. Give me your thoughts. Oh, hello, didn't see you there. Well, now that you're here, let's talk about Merc. Now, and also I want to thank you guys. Thanks. I'm approaching 40,000 subscribers. Thanks so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Now, Merc, do you see what I'm wearing? This is a low-key, pretty much low-key t-shirt. Ancient information. It's this pyramid beaming directions to Alpha Centauri about the position of Earth. About, say, the condition of humankind at the present time. What's going on? What's going on with this t-shirt? It's a great conversation starter, but it's a low-key t-shirt. I got another one, an Aztec design. You can wear them every day. No one will ever look at you. People are worried when they see a crazy t-shirt. Oh, where can I wear that? Where can I wear that? Well, hey, I reckon you need the tools before you do a job. If you build a house, what do? Do you waste all day looking for tools? No, you already want to have those tools before you build the house. So I've got these low-key things. I've got high-key t-shirts. For example, look at that I Got Your Number t-shirt. The I Got Your Number is a great conversation piece, say if you want to have a barbecue. What's the point of going to a barbecue if you're not the center of attention? You want to be the center of attention at every barbecue you go to. Let's say you want a lady's number. Let's say, what do? You can make it part of your conversation because it's on your damn t-shirt. Something like that could be priceless for you. So consider that. Have a look at this. I got cups as well. Got the logo. This has got the logo as well. You know what I'm saying? Low key. This color. You can wear it at a UFO conference, and you can say to people, "Hey, look at this," and people will say, "Hey, oh, I watched that show too." Yeah, and suddenly you're talking, and suddenly, hey, you got a friend. So this stuff's priceless. This stuff's beyond priceless even. So guys, have a look at that. Just click that thing up there like that, and that's how you go to it. It's on Spreadshirt, and I wish you a great day and a wonderful New Year 2019. Cheers, guys.